Hello, everyone. This is Shikha Tiwari, and welcome to another episode at You Reinvent. Today, we will be talking about emotional intelligence. Now, a lot of us know what is emotional intelligence. We've heard about it. It's like a buzzword, but very few of us really know what does it mean. How does it look like when we or our children are responding from an emotionally intelligent space, or we are not responding from an emotionally intelligent place, or some of the problems that our children are facing are coming from the point that they do not have these emotional skills. So today I will be talking to Carrie Sutton. Carrie Sutton is an educator, speaker, and author who has helped over 25,000 children, parents, and educators, with evidence-based strategies and tools. She is deconstructing the research, and so that we don't have to do it, and she's coming to us with some easy to use tools and practical tips and strategies to how to develop this skill in our children. uh, her second book, Raising a Mentally Fit Generation, uh, actually gives you some such beautiful resource on how to build emotional intelligence and resilience in our children. So please welcome Carrie Sutton. Welcome, Carrie, and thank you so much for joining me and taking out the time. I know there is a lot going on in your life, but still to be able to, come for this session, I really appreciate it.
My absolute pleasure. I always love speaking to different audiences, and especially with the questions we've got today. So,
Yeah,
not a problem in the world.
yeah. I thought, because we've been talking about, emotional intelligence for, I mean, literally like a century, but I don't know how many of us really understand, what it means. What does it look like? And that's when, if you remember, when we spoke first, I was like, I don't know if I can give you inputs, but I would like to learn. So that's where my first question is coming to you, that what is emotional intelligence and what does it look like in our children? When do you know that, okay, this child is responding from an emotionally intelligent space?
Okay, and it's a good question because so in around 1995, Daniel Goleman started
Yeah.
talking about it. There's people who've talked about it before, but he really put it together in 1995 and wrote The Emotionally Intelligent Child, or how to, and talked about emotion coaching. But he was also talking about it in adults. And we as adults, we actually need to have these skills taught to us when we're little as well, so that we can become emotionally intelligent.
Correct.
Emotional intelligence, there's four parts of it, but they talk about first is self-awareness, and then self-regulation or self-management. So for children, that's for young children, particularly anywhere from birth to about most probably 6 7, that's where they're starting to learn those sorts of things. Because again, so going back to the first question, what's emotional intelligence? Self-awareness and self-management,
Hmm.
then awareness of others and relationship management. So it's then about kindness, empathy, and talking about we're aware of what might be going on for you. So I would,
Okay.
if I have emotional intelligence, I would be able to, and that's why with theory of mind, which means I understand that you have different thoughts to me, that you have different emotions to me.
Hmm.
That starts at around 5 6 7. So our young
Okay.
children don't often have a lot of theory of mind. It's
Right.
just because if you think about the whole brain, it happens in the prefrontal cortex right
Hmm.
there. So this is the brain. This is the brain stem out of Dan Siegel's work, prefrontal cortex and the amygdala. That's our brain that often takes over when we're in
Okay.
heightened emotions when we're young. Well, that often takes over for all of us when we're in heightened
Right. Yeah.
emotions because it keeps us safe. But for small children, that's where they're often living. They live in that brain because that's
Mhm.
the brain, part of the brain that's most developed. The prefrontal cortex hasn't
It's
developed
not
yet.
developed
And
yet.
no, when I went to teachers college 30 years ago, we thought that, okay, the brain, when it's 16, 17, 18, yes, it's developed. Actually, we're now looking into the mid to late 20s, particularly for a young or adolescent boys.
Right.
So that explains why the prefrontal cortex, where regulation of emotion, emotional control or impulse control happens here. And again, that part of the brain is particularly impacted when we're tired, when we don't have a lot of glucose, or when there's not enough brain fuel. That
Mhm.
part will often get put offline. So our emotions take over then. So an emotional intelligence, coming back to it, is those four parts: self awareness. What am I feeling?
Mhm.
How do I manage that feeling? What others might be feeling, or relation understanding others, and then relationship management, awareness of others' feelings. So when we talk about how do we develop an emotionally intelligent child, or what does it look like, it looks like they could say, I'm feeling angry, mama, or
Mhm.
I'm tired. Like, again, we often don't have a large emotional vocabulary.
Correct. Yeah,
As
yeah,
adults, we don't have it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so that's how we look at and say, how can we help our children? So if we were saying, what does emotional intelligence look like in child? I'm angry, I'm sad. If you've seen the movie Inside Out, which the Disney movie, they named the five emotions. I'm happy, I'm sad. But often children, we need to teach them, because frustration, what are they feeling in their body? When they feel angry, they might feel one way, but they don't understand that frustration is different to anger, but the feelings in the body might be the same.
Very similar. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I think as
Does that
as
make sense?
adults, yeah, as adults, I mean, at least for people from my uh, generation, because when we were growing up, there was nothing like emotional intelligence. So
No.
either if you're intelligent, great. If you're not, I mean, so be doomed. So,
Mhm.
but
And
yeah,
that's particularly why managers and leaders, it's so important. And so if we're looking at our kids now, our children now, what are they going to need in this changing world? What are they going to
correct.
need in this world that's being impacted by AI, like artificial intelligence? What they're going to need is that face to face, or that human interaction, that kindness, that empathy, that understanding of emotion.
Hmm,
The
hmm.
soft skills are going to be the things that robots and AI, they can't replace that.
You're right, and